So what is one thing that has really helped me save money over time? I would have to say it's always living in the future. Now, of course, you know you don't want to live in the future. You want to live in the present day, but you have to be thinking about the future in order to get there. And that's what's coming up on The Frugal Millionaire. So before we get started, hit that like button to show your support. And you know, for today's episode, we don't have to go back that far, but we're going to be going back to 2018. Here's my planner to prove it, where I wrote a note in here about having the ability to live in the future as it relates to money. So let me go ahead and find it for you. And right here in the notes section, I have a little comment about living in the future when I was just starting 2018 with $585,000 in my investment accounts. And I have to say that I knew that I was futuristic because my company had sent us to classes where you can learn what your strengths are. So here's my card where futuristic is number 1 on the list, which pretty much just means that it's a program where you can learn about what your strengths are because we all have strengths. And it's helping to leverage those in the workplace so you can get along with all sorts of people with different personalities. But I like to relate that to money for my own personal life. And so that's why in this episode today on The Frugal Millionaire, I want to talk about living in the future and how important I think it is to see the future. And come on, let's face it, we really again have to see the future. I read a book in recent years, Morgan Housel, I believe is his name, and called The Psychology of Money, where he talked about how important behaviors are in terms of building wealth. And it's not always about the numbers. It's about keeping your behavior intact over a long period of time. And I couldn't agree more. I really believe that having this futuristic ability for me to be able to think about the future, even more than the present in some cases, so that I knew how to get there. So at the end of this video, I'm going to link the episode I have about building your budget. I would really like you to go back and watch that for those of you that are still struggling with money. I know it's a snooze fest, it's very long, but if you build your spreadsheet and you list all the money you have coming in and all the money you have going out, you should know exactly where you are for that year. So I like to always refer to the concept of having the ability to raise 40,000 feet up and look down over your financial life over the course of many years. But I think many of us still struggle with mastering just the 12 months in the year that we're in. And sometimes it's mastering just the month. So in my opinion, from all my experience over these past 15 years building $1 million net worth, I truly believe that spreadsheet helped me get to where I wanted to be. I became obsessed with that spreadsheet. I know there are lots of different things you can do online and on apps to track your money and your spending, but if you do it on paper, it's my opinion that you're going to have more success long term. And you know, when anybody ever asks me about building wealth over time, I always like to remind them that, of course, I had a bankruptcy at age 29, and I learned to master the year that I was in, even though I had no extra money going on whatsoever. So we're talking about 11 years. We're talking about 1996, 97, 98, 99, 2000, 2001, 2, 3, 4, 5. Finally, in 2006, when I was 40 years old, I started to see in my budget a little bit of wiggle room in which I could then put into savings and then eventually into investing. But you know, as I always say, you guys, you're not going to get there overnight. But I knew that day would come. I knew that I was mastering the skill sets that I needed once the money came. And let's be real for just a minute, you guys. The future is going to come. The future always comes. We're going to get to the end of the next month. We're going to get to the end of the next year. And if you don't master your money in that year, then it, of course, is going to have a huge compacting effect on your whole trajectory going into the future. Why not map it out on a piece of paper right now, every single year going forward, and figure out how much you think you're going to have at the end of 2023, how much you're going to have at the end of 2024, how much you're going to have at the end of 2025. Maybe forecast just a 6% annual rate of return. I know I did that many years ago, starting in 2006. I have an Excel spreadsheet called the End of Year Big Pick, where I've just put down every single year what I thought I would get to, and then I would put the actual numbers next to it once the end of the year came. And I have to say, I was always pleasantly surprised that I got a little bit further than I thought I would. Now, I'm not saying that for us going forward, and for me going into possibly early retirement in about 10 months, I know I keep saying that, scary, right? But I also say we can only master what we can master and control only what we can control. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. But at least we can do our best today, which of course then turns into the future. I said to myself, Evan, I don't want to be broke at 50 when I was broke at 40. I had 10 years to get to where I wanted to be. So it's really just that simple. As long as you have income, you keep your expenses down. Saving money over time is not all about the numbers. That's the boring stuff. It's all about the behaviors as you move forward and tracking where you are every single year. And so I'm going to end today's video with this. As you're going through the year and thinking about the future, I want you to cross-check and reverse engineer as you're going throughout the year. So for example, here we are coming up in March of 2023. It'll soon be the end of 2023, or actually March of 2023. That's 1/4 of the year already gone. See how quickly it happens? Now you can forecast into April, May, and June. But actually, if you had built your budget in January and you spent many months building it prior to releasing it in January, then you should already know exactly what's going on, and you should just be cross-checking and reverse engineering to make sure that you're meeting your goals. So that's what I had for you guys today. If you're liking this content, please hit that like button. If you're finding value in my content, I would really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time on The Frugal Millionaire. Hello, 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 hello. Hello, testing, testing. So at the end of this video, I'm going to talk